All right, there we go. And then we say it again, right? I don't think we need to say it twice, is what I'm saying. I can take it off the previous slide. We can add more right here. Well, I think we're going to say it again at the end.
Yeah, I don't. The more we say it, that we're not just going to go out, we're not going out just to buy something and say we're not going to, it's owned by the public and we're not going to use it.
Okay.
And I don't like the idea of focusing on the North Fields.
I agree with you.
Just that.
Yeah, because I think
It's a hot button issue.
Yeah.
Okay. But why not?
Hmm?
But why not, Steve?
Because then
Why not? I mean, aren't we just going to mention them still? Or are you
we can
saying?
use them as an example, but I don't know if that ought to be our goal or to,
Just them?
yeah.
Okay. So, on
Because I don't
this
want
slide.
the people in the North Field to come back and say, well, the whole county's out to take our land away from us.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're just
Do we put
focusing
some limitations on it though, so that Wallsburg, for example, isn't competing for the same dollars? So I think $15 is only going to get us so far. Like, do we want to define at least some general region? Maybe it's just the Heber Valley floor or something?
I think
you take each application as it comes.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
we
it
get a,
totally depends on them being prepared,
we create,
not us.
we either do this as a board or create another special committee just to look at the elements of the property in question and the feasibility and how that works with the entire plan. And they make a recommendation to this board that we,
Yeah, I mean, it's how big is the ask, right? If somebody in Wallsburg comes forward, if some landowner, if the Probst Electric comes forward and says, hey, we've got 3,500 acres on the backside of Wallsburg, we really just want our tax value down. If you'll help us coordinate to put a conservation easement on all of this and you'll hold it, we'll lock all this up in conservation easement going forward. Man, we jump on that because it's going to cost us what?
Does anybody want to look at that list? Do you
But
like that
I agree.
list or
I
not?
think,
makes sense.
individually.
I can make it.
Well, he's reading that it's, the Northfield is a hot button issue in Midway,
Yeah.
because there's an assumption by some number of people, it's kind of already protected. That 20 acres in one house, that's a pretty great reach over that big field. And that upper commercial piece that we talked about in the last meeting, notwithstanding, that it's, if we're going to do something, we should spread the money around into other places. And if Northfield becomes, it becomes apparent something else needs to be done, then we can come back to that. And then there's another group that says, well, everybody knows about Northfields and we never want to lose that. And we got to put in some money in Northfields. And I can't read it.
I think if we come up with a program, the Northfield property owner would be the first to take it.
And I think the Northfields are the sexiest in terms of marketing this to the community. We
Okay.
want the bond to pass. People think Northfields.
I think you can
Is
say
that
that
an
in
acceptable
the general
list or not?
statement, agricultural land.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I already looked at it before, so.
Yeah.
I'm just-
List?
Agricultural
Are we
lands,
missing
grazing and
any
ranching
others?
lands, and I swear, lands with watersheds
Excellent.
for wildlife protection.
On that
Yeah.
last one, land to preserve public access to.
I would call it public access corridors.
Yes, something
Okay.
like that.
What I'm thinking is if you have like some private and only unit blocks.
What you got more for.
Because
Exactly.
we're not trying to make people have trails on their farms or
Right,
ranches.
right.
But perhaps public access corridors, I like that. Okay. So this part right here, do we stick it back on benefits right here? Benefits of open space. Do we stick it there?
I think you
Or
get
do
too
we just
small.
take it out here and then just really hit it on the next slide and then hit it on a couple more slides?
Personally, I'd leave it where it is.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay, we'll keep saying it then, right?
Yeah.
Do you see a problem with it?
No, but should I put it here too then?
Yes.
Okay,
The
so
benefits
all the
of-
benefits,
yeah.
and then the types of lands, again, okay, that's good.
You can always move through it faster if it's
Yeah, so-
becoming redundant.
Hang on a second.
mean, this is the county council, they have a short attention span, so we don't want to go too long, but. Oh, I'm sorry, I forget you guys are in.
That's what Spencer said 3 weeks ago. He said, don't make it too long.
All right, well, I was hoping for a
Yeah,
smile, but I think
you
I
know,
might.
You could be terminated.
Well, I didn't mean all members of the county council.
So.
Okay, wait, we can do that?
Yep.
And so.
He
now
serves
we come
at the
to-
pleasure of the county council.
So does that
as they
mean-
say.
I only gotta
Does
find
that
two
mean-
more?
Not really.
Yeah.
He serves as the treasurer of the Tourism and Economic Development Board.
Okay, so now that we've listed these land types, does that mean we can get rid of this down here? Or just say motivated sellers that align with strategic areas? That would be also another type of land that we'd focus on.
Yeah,
So we can
because-
get rid of this part except for that one, right there. Does that sound okay, everybody? Or do you have other criteria?
I mean, you're gonna get rid of the A20 zone?
Yeah, because that would be agricultural. wouldn't it?
Yeah. That'd be very,
Yeah. that looks-
So far, so, oh, you're still reading.
I just say move that one seller, motivated seller up to the other line then. Just get rid of that whole middle part then, if there's
Yeah,
only one
probably.
bullet point.
I agree, because that can't be underestimated at the front end of this.
And it's definitely part of the criteria that we'll be looking at.
And so we can think of any other criteria, I'll just leave that in for now, but then.
I think for the county council at this point, I mean, that's good enough, don't you? They don't expect us to have,
No.
they don't want to hear
And this is not.
they don't want to see how the sausage is going to be made. It's more of giving them an overview of what our plan is,
Yeah, but
right?
it gives their, off of them enough information that they,
Right.
when somebody asks them about it, they can have a basic understanding.
Right,
of what-
so we don't have to get down into every single type of land.
Or criteria.
Or
Unless you
criteria at
can all
this
think of
point.
anything
Yeah, I
else.
just think that those are great. That
Well,
gives a
and a
good
lot of times in
overview
these
of
type of-
You
most.
open up the
That's
questions, so.
90% of the lands we're gonna see are probably one of those four things. I'm sure
Well,
we
and-
haven't thought of a few, but
A lot of these presentations will cover the
Really
basic
good.
who, what, when, where, why, but then we'll have an appendix at the end, so we'll have the last slide that says questions, and then if the council says, well, tell me about the specifics of that, we can refer back to our appendix.
Okay, so I'm really liking this so far. The next slide is the tools to preserve open space. And then we have this property owner benefits.
Take that one out.
So we're taking this one out? Okay, you're going to do that in your different.
Just do it through the examples.
Okay, so we have tools, and I think a really great thing here is to say, WOLB is going to be a committee of talented people that will provide a one-stop shop for all types of land projects, just mentioned, in all of these different ways. You see what I'm saying? I really like that one-stop shop idea. Is that okay to add that in?
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't call it a committee,
board?
a board.
Board.
Yeah, because we're appointed by the committee makes it look like it just,
A citizens committee or something.
something that will go away at some point.
Yeah. Board meeting sounds.
Can we get
Instead of
name
saying-
tags then? Really?
Instead of
I'll
saying
make you
vast,
some.
Thanks, Steve.
vast history, how about we say incredibly experienced or something like that?
I'm sorry, I'm
vast-
not following.
Just vast county history.
well, I was just thinking of the people around this table.
Right. I mean, what,
It's not just what we do for a living,
A
but
working knowledge and a history of the valley, or something to that effect.
how about we say something like direct experience to, there you go, provide a one-stop shop for different land preservations, different land preservations, something like that. Taxpayers' connections to donors. I'm actually going over. It's not going over this one. Okay, whatever.
Steve,
I'll
eventually,
fix that.
Steve and Spencer, do you think we need to have a landowner of note on our board so that when we're asked those set of questions, that we've got somebody who can speak from that point of view?
I'd like to put together a landowners committee and have one of us sitting on that same, work with them to make recommendations to the board.
Justin, would you say you're a land attorney, or you just have land experience?
I think a real estate attorney. I don't know, I'm just saying attorney.
Well, and then a real estate broker, and then Cortland, you're the public lands director, right? But you also have experience with tourism, right?
No, that was Ryan.
Oh,
I think Cortland
I mean, I was just,
Portland would be the public land administrator.
okay,
Yes, I mean, yeah, public land administrator.
et cetera.
Did you hear about Fred?
Something about it Friday night?
It's awful.
The legislature today opened a bill to rename Starvation State Park the Fred Hayes State Park.
That's great.
Oh, that's nice.
And they had a moment of silence.
That's great.
Really powerful.
Well, see, that's ideal because that's where he came. He grew up on the wild strawberry, so out by the Pinnacles.
Okay. Okay, so what we're doing on tools to preserve open spaces, first we're talking about the WOLB. So WOLB is a board of talented people, a real estate attorney, a real estate broker, a tourism director, a public lands director, et cetera. We're the et cetera, unless you want. With expertise and strong county and regional backgrounds. How does that sound? Backgrounds.
Great.
I think Spencer and I were placed on it because of our agricultural background.
Okay.
Board thought we should have some kind of agricultural.
Sure.
Farmers? Just,
Just an agricultural background.
well, we're saying specific people, so I'm trying to, elected officials with agricultural background. How does that sound?
Yeah. Flunkies with
I think you'd
agriculture.
have to make money to be considered a farmer.
Not on farmersonly.com.
That's true.
I'm the et cetera.
see, folks just don't get it.
It's my favorite commercial. It's so awesome.
Okay, and that WOLB is going to, that this direct experience will provide a one-stop shop for different land preservation projects. Okay, and then WOLB has connections to donors. WOLB will facilitate grants. WOLB will collaborate with cities. And WOLB will navigate the legal mumbo jumbo.
Perfect.
How does that sound? Okay, now is there anything else on this? WOLB will do community outreach and schedule town hall meetings this summer to inform the public. Sharing the plan, and you put that in.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to elaborate on that?
Are we going to
Sharing
do,
and maybe explaining the plan.
it came up in a
Whatever
couple,
the plan is gonna be.
it came up in a couple of conversations I've had. Would we entertain, or are we planning on doing some kind of a survey in addition to what Midway did and what Heber's done, so that as we move into the serious part of the summer, we've got some new levels of support and some comments on what's the willingness to pay, and kind of adding some details to this as we move forward.
I think
We may want to at least be ready to say that we would like to do something
we would
like
want
that.
that before we make our final recommendation to the council on how much. I mean, right now, we're just going to ask them to vote to put it on the ballot.
Yeah.
And then in August, we need to put a dollar figure to it
Yeah.
and then use that as some kind of, use one
What
of
you got
them.
about there, Meetings, where was your bullet about meetings? Schedule town hall meetings
this summer.
and provide links.
Provide link
For
for
a
public
public survey,
survey,
okay.
or I'll just say provide public survey, how's
Yeah.
that sound?
Yeah.
Because
Could we not come up with another name instead of WOLB? That sounds like a word.
We talked about
we
this.
tried so hard. All those years ago, I'm open for another name.
Steve and Spencer's Tuesday night.
Open lands.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Open lands.
Wasatch Open Lands or something like
Say
that.
preservation
We can make it
or land
owls.
preservation, so we'd have Wasatch
I like those cool
County,
acronyms, you know.
that'd be WCLP.
Open Wasatch lands.
Wasatch County Land Preservation Board. That would be WCLPB, that sort of rhymes. Wasatch County
Or maybe I'm
Land
just-
Preservation Board.
Maybe I'm just funny, but
It doesn't roll off the tongue very easily.
no.
It's, besides this presentation though, it's not really an acronym we're gonna use a lot.
We can always
We're gonna
change
meet as
it.
the board.
We can figure that out later.
Okay, so on the next one, we have more tools for open space. And you have Snake Creek Ranch, Wolf Creek Ranch, Last Dollar Ranch. What if you just go straight to the pictures?
I can, yeah, it doesn't, we can take that out, and then as long as you just, I like how you put the title on each one.
Yeah.
I'm good with
Right.
that, as long as you get the title on
Right,
each one.
because in fact, the last thing, right, is, we can put the last thing, navigating the legal mumbo jumbo, we can put that last, which should lead right into you, that
Perfect,
you're our
yeah.
attorney. Does that sound okay? And then he can get into these examples. So, let's do that. Just to keep the slides down, that's all.
Perfect, yeah. no problem.
Okay, so take out that slide, you go to Snake Creek,
Yep.
and then you go to, come on, then you go to Wolf Creek, and then you go to the Last Dollar
And we'll
Ranch.
just want to get that a title at some point.
Sure.
Do we want to add Bonanza? We can do Bonanza too.
What do you think, Tracy? Or you
Sure.
think-
It's a
you think
recent
it would hurt
example,
us?
yeah.
You think it would hurt us? We got a lot of support for people, I mean, we got a lot of support, emails and that, wanting us to do something with it.
The only thing I'm concerned about is that it confuses people because we're not buying land outright. And that's what Bonanza was about, was purchasing the land. And so I think that that's that thing that people keep bringing up, even the county council, I've heard them say, well, so, what if they don't want to sell? And it's like, we're not buying, we're putting conservation easements on to start. I mean,
But we can,
but, so that's the only thing I worry about with Bonanza Flat, is I think there's some people that just think of that as being outright
yeah,
purchased.
but I think
So,
there may
that's
be
the
more
only thing.
benefit to show that we're protecting that land from development.
Yeah.
And
Right.
providing a public amenity.
Right,
And that was a conservation grant slam. I mean, I'm with you, we're betting for singles and doubles, right? That's what we're looking for here.
right.
We lock up 20 acres on a conservation easement, we're happy, and whoever it is, McPhee keeps farming, right? That's what I think we're mainly gonna be doing. Locking up 1,300 acres of prime development land next to a ski resort, that happens about never, that was the ultimate grand slam. It was a lot of private money. I mean, it was partially, the public money primed the pump, and actually probably was the majority.
Yeah, but it was an
of the
outright
money.
purchase.
It was
It
an outright
wasn't a
purchase.
conservation easement, that's where I'm coming from.
It is in a
But-
conservation easement through Utah Open Lands.
Right,
Okay.
It is.
Right.
But an outright purchase led to a conservation easement. I'm with you 100%.
On the bond.
I don't think 99%.
but here's the thing, I see putting Bonanza Flat in there over
Yeah.
your Last Dollar
And that
Ranch.
should be-
Because I looked at it and went, where is that? It's in Colorado, and it's like, you know what, I'm trying to even think of a
Not
property
wordy,
owner
listen
in
to
Wasatch
questions,
County that would
being
even
able
come
to
close to that
display
Last Dollar
those
Ranch. Do you know what I
first
mean?
three
There's
bullets,
really
like the big
no
ones.
iconic
I guess all
Is
four,
there
really.
ranch like
is
that,
to me,
like
that's,
Last Dollar, where
well, it's the
it's
Kentucky
somehow
No,
owned by.
Portland brought up
I agree.
Center Creek and Magpie. That's probably,
Yeah.
Jerry Christensen owns that outright. him and Bud Raymond.
Is that on the
I met
way
him at
up
the
past the
gas station.
LDS property, up that canyon?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Where's
No.
Center Creek?
Oh, yeah, going up, yeah.
There's
yeah,
LDS
yeah,
property
yeah.
down at the
The
bottom
gravel
of it.
pit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes up.
But that goes all the way up to the forest, all the way to
Right.
the top of the
I've
hill.
gone up that way.
Beautiful property.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a beautiful property.
But I mean, that's one guy. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to cut down on the slides. And so a picture of some other state that doesn't really relate, I'd rather put Bonanza Flat in there.
I
And
would
keep
like,
it
I would
to,
like to somehow use an example though of this, the more private scale, because the problem with, and I guess maybe we could add that with,
Well, I think that would be a good one to show that the rancher's still ranching it.
that's what I'm getting at, the private scale.
I mean, how this can work, that we got a conservation, public conservation easement, but yet we got the historic rancher still maintaining his lifestyle.
Because there is a misperception, right? I grew up in the ranching world and did a little roping and have buddies that rope, and it's interesting because I'm the only one of all this network that is now an attorney. And I go out every year, for example, to the Lazy Seven Ranch in Nevada and help on their roundup. They got 14,000 head of cattle. And these guys talk about the fact that they're so worried about, the next transition, moving the ranch from dad to sons, right? The two brothers now. And they're so worried about this. But then I talk to them about conservation easements, and they're like, whoa, hey, city boy, you're not taking our land away, right? That's immediately what they think. is you're
that's
gonna
what I'm
take away-
afraid of,
You're
is
gonna take
that,
away the control of my property. And I have to tell them, like, no, guys, I'm not trying to take away the control of your property at all. I'm trying to save your ranch,
Mhm.
Do you want to strip the development? You don't, and I'll tell them, you don't want to develop it, If your kids went to develop it, how would you feel? Oh, I'd be pissed, I wouldn't want to do that. All right, well then just take that stick out of the bundle of property rights. We're just gonna pull that out. You're not gonna develop this ever. It's gonna stay a ranch, right? But it's your ranch. You're gonna continue to do all the same things you've ever done on it. And no one's ever gonna tell you you can't. That's what I wanted to use the last dollar ranch for, is I think for certain
Right.
segment of the population, for that agricultural portion of the population, these ranchers, they're finally catching on in the last 15 years. Like, oh, wait a second, no, this is a tool I can put in my handbag, This is actually, they're not trying to take my property away, they're just helping me. That's that, and I couldn't,
Well, and I don't
I
think
don't know
that's
of a
a
good example of
specific-
someone around here that's done it.
I don't take that as what's the word I'm looking, an anomaly. I'm saying that's exactly what we're
I
doing
think that should be the bread and
on
butter.
most of, that's what I'm trying to get at, is that there's still this perception we're buying out ranchers, and it's like, that's not what we're doing.
And unfortunately, Wolf Creek Ranch, Victory Ranch, they kind of perpetuate that misconception.
Yeah.
Because then, like I have the people I know who know about that, who are ranchers, they think, oh, and then I can only get to use 10 acres of my property, right? You tell me I can't fence it and I can't run cattle on it, or I can't do whatever I want. It's like, no, that was one community, one way they approached it, but that's not how it has to be. You can design this in such a way. So I just didn't know of a good Wasatch County example
See, I kind of
of where
think
that's been
that's
done.
exactly what we need to make sure we emphasize right up front. In the benefits, what he's saying, that no one's ever going to have their land taken away from them with what we're proposing.
I think that's why examples are good. You show that this is not a one-size-fits-all. I like the Snake Creek, I like these other, hopefully it's a bit of a dialogue because people are aware of what went down. And you realize it's a different solution for each situation, right? Everybody needs something a little different, you find the right tools. The goal is just preservation, right, at the end of the day.
Well, I think the last or ranch is a good example of what we could have here if we got some of the property owners.
So let's keep the ones we have and then just add Bonanza.
There is an example
Yeah.
in Summit County, High Star Ranch. I helped with that. So they did lock up the majority of High Star Ranch in an agricultural conservation easement. So when you drive past High Star Ranch, they have these little developments. They're going to have quite a few lots. They're all about a quarter to a half an acre max. But then they have 100 to 300 acre.
The meadow out in front
Meadows
is
out
going
in
to be
front.
left, and then all that hillside.
Exactly. So it has been done. That was Mark Fisher that did that. He did a great job.
Mark Fisher from Berkeley.
Yeah.
The Bonanza Flat, Mark Fisher.
Mhm.
Yeah, same guy.
Oh, shit.
But
We can tell you
I
feeling
would
better,
concur with
Steve.
one of the things
We
you're
can tell you
saying is
feeling better from the
that
pneumonia.
the example
Swearing.
opens up the door, but then probably you two are going to have to explain what we want to get done after this vote and before August. That all these other things we need to look at.
Yeah.
And we want to find some potential property owners who would be interested in working with us. And we want to do the public survey, and we want to find some balance in moving forward. Because we're just trying to get to first base on the 28th.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the conversation is what, from that point of view, that's what does that.
Yeah.
We'll come back, we promise. And here's what we're going to find out between now and then.
Okay.
So when are we meeting again?
Well, I think we need to work on the bonding, the language on the bonding. And then, like I was talking to Tracy,
We could do it
we
right
need to
now.
put some measures in there of success or thresholds
Yeah.
that we can say, this is what we accomplished before we go after the next bonding level. And I don't know how we do that.
Do you think we need to do that before the presentation to the council, or do you think that's something we can do after, as we start to mature as a board?
I think it wouldn't hurt to put in that we're going to develop some thresholds.
Yeah. And even if they're not very specific now,
Yeah.
they will be.
Some mechanisms that have to be met for the
Before we go,
next amount of money to kick in.
before we go to the next phase. That way, they don't feel like they're just handing us a blank check.
Yeah.
Well, I'll certainly sit down with you and do some wordsmithing if,
Does anybody like those benefits right there that I just put in? Provide.
And we may want to just duplicate this slide and split it into two slides.
Yeah, because it's hard to read.
Yeah, true. We need a lot of benefits, and then he'll explain those benefits. But we can work on the bond text right now.
I would prefer to work on the bond text over time. I'm not a good
Yeah,
writer,
I'm
I'm a good
not.
editor. If you give me time, I can kind of work something together, but if it's on the spot, it won't be good. But if you send that to me, I'm certainly willing. I think the easiest way to do that would be to edit it up, work it up. So I could do a preliminary edit and then send it around and say, give me your feedback. And then
Just
kinda
put it on
keep
that
backing it
Google
up.
Doc.
Yeah, I'll just put it on the Google Doc.
Is that on the Google Doc right now?
She's
No,
going
but I'll
to.
go
So
put it
you're gonna
on
go put it on later,
Yeah, I'll do
and
the
then we
March
can look at
6th.
it again?
Google Doc.
I'm almost thinking, instead of meeting March 12th, why don't we just meet right before
The meeting.
the meeting
Well-
on the
Who's going to do which slides then if we're not going to meet on the 12th? We could do a run-through